If you're on food stamps, I have breaking news, and it's actually good news. A federal judge is getting ready to force the administration to issue SNAP benefits for the month of November. A hearing just happened, and the federal judge has indicated she's not persuaded by the administration's reasons for holding back these benefits. I'm talking about a court ruling that could affect 42 million Americans. And I've spent hours going through the court documents, the USDA statements, and everything in between, so you don't have to. Plus, up to 11 states are already stepping in to help if this drags on. So stick with me because I'm going to break down exactly what the judge said, who this affects, what states are doing to help, and most importantly, when you can expect your benefits. My name is Tony, and I've been covering benefits and personal finance for 9 months. I started this work because I've seen firsthand how confusing the system can be and how scary it is when you don't know if your benefits are coming. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Do me a quick favor. Go into the comments and let me know your city and your state because I like to know where you guys are watching from. And if you've been here for a while, welcome back. Before we dive in, I want to say this. Whether you've been on SNAP for years or you just applied last week, you're not alone. There's no shame in needing help to put food on the table, and my job is to help you understand exactly what's happening with your benefits so you can plan and prepare. All right, let's get into this breaking news. This is from CNN. Judge indicates she will intervene in fight over SNAP food assistance money. A federal judge in Boston, U.S. District Judge Ayat Tiari, indicated Thursday that she will intervene in this high-stakes fight. And here's what she said, and I quote, "Right now, Congress has put money in an emergency fund for an emergency. And it's hard for me to understand how this isn't an emergency when there is no money and a lot of people are needing their SNAP benefits." Let me tell you why that statement is so powerful. There's $5.3 billion sitting in an emergency fund that Congress set aside for exactly this kind of situation. The administration hasn't wanted to release it, but this judge is basically saying, how is this not an emergency? The judge said she was likely to issue a ruling favorable to the Democratic attorneys general and governors who sued the administration earlier this week. One possibility is that she issues an emergency order that essentially compels the administration to tap into those emergency funds. Now, here's the reality check. Even if the judge issues this order, which it looks like she will, the benefits that should start going out November 1st are going to be delayed. The judge herself acknowledged this. She said, quote, "We are dealing with the reality that the benefits aren't going to be here on November 1st. That's why what these states are doing to help in the meantime is so critical." Stay with me. Let me give you the scale of what we're talking about here. Nearly 42 million Americans receive food stamps. That's not 42 million households. That's 42 million individual people. The program costs roughly $8.5 billion a month, and the emergency fund has $5.3 billion in it. So, it doesn't solve the entire problem, but it helps significantly. When the judge orders the government to release this emergency fund, and it's looking like she will, it's going to take some time for the Agriculture Department and the states to get their systems up and running again, which means at least some of you are going to have to wait a bit longer for your November benefits. But here's the good news. The legal system is working. Advocates went to court on your behalf, and the judge is listening. That's huge. Now, because this is going to take time, even after the judge's ruling, up to 11 states have announced they're stepping in to help SNAP recipients. When I first started covering this story a few days ago, it was 8 states. Now more are joining. Let me tell you who they are and what they're doing. The original states, California, Colorado, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Mexico, New York, Vermont, and Virginia. These states set aside money early to help SNAP recipients if November 1st came, and benefits didn't arrive. Ohio Governor DeWine signed an executive order on Thursday providing $25 million to Ohio families affected by the SNAP suspension. The state is giving $7 million to food banks and up to $18 million in emergency relief to more than 63,000 Ohioans, including 57,000 children. Families will qualify if they're at or below 50% of the federal poverty level. Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey announced they're distributing millions of dollars to food banks across the state. More than 1 million Massachusetts residents are facing the loss of SNAP benefits. 32% are children, 31% are people with disabilities, and 26% are older adults. That's who we're talking about here. Michigan. The Michigan Senate approved $71 million toward helping feed families. There are 1.4 million people in Michigan who receive food stamps, and the state is stepping up for them. Maryland, this is where I live, so I'm particularly proud of this one. Governor Wes Moore declared a state of emergency Thursday and is sending $10 million from the Fiscal Responsibility Fund to food banks and food bank partners. He said, "Until the shutdown ends, we share a collective responsibility to help each other out." And I expect more states to join this list because as this situation continues, governors are realizing they can't just wait. They have to act. Now, let me tell you exactly who is affected by this, because I think there are a lot of misconceptions out there about who receives SNAP benefits. Children. 16 million children. That's almost 40% of SNAP recipients. We're talking about kids who need to eat, who can't just get a job to feed themselves. Seniors, 8 million older adults who work their whole lives and now find that Social Security just doesn't stretch far enough. College students, 1.5 million students trying to get an education and better their lives. Legal immigrants, 1.5 million legal immigrants. Not illegal immigrants because that's impossible, but green card holders who are here legally and contributing to our communities. Veterans, 1.2 million veterans who served this country and came home to struggle with making ends meet. Active military families, 22,000 active duty military families are on SNAP benefits. Think about that. People currently serving our country need food assistance. And here's what people don't realize. The average SNAP recipient gets $6 per day. $6. That's not living large. That's not luxury. That's trying to survive and put basic food on the table. Now, when SNAP benefits get cut off, it's not just the recipients who are affected. This has ripple effects throughout our entire economy. Let me show you 3 major groups that get hurt. Schools and children. I saw an article today about how schools are bracing for the negative impact of the SNAP shutdown. About 39% of SNAP recipients are children under 18. School systems are worried about childhood hunger increasing, and they're concerned about the long-term sustainability of free and reduced-price lunches. Some are even worried about access to Head Start programs if the shutdown isn't resolved soon. Food banks, you might think, well, food banks can just step in and help. But the Salvation Army issued a press release making it clear they cannot handle this. They said families are already turning to their food pantries in growing numbers, many for the first time. In some communities, demand for food assistance has more than doubled what's typical. Food banks are not equipped to replace $8.5 billion a month in federal assistance. Small retailers, this one surprised me. Small grocery stores, mom and pop shops, and local communities depend on SNAP customers for their business. I read a story from NPR about a Save-A-Lot store in Springfield, Massachusetts, where the bulk of customers depend on SNAP. The manager there is worried about what's going to happen to their business. And it's not just small stores. A lot of groceries are bought at Walmart with SNAP. For every $1 of SNAP benefits that's spent, the U.S. economy is stimulated by almost $2. This affects local economies, rural communities, urban neighborhoods, everyone. So, what do you need to do right now? Let me give you some concrete action steps. Don't panic, but stay informed. The judge is likely to rule in your favor very soon, possibly as early as tomorrow. Your benefits are coming. They're going to be delayed, but they're coming. Check if your state is helping. If you live in California, Colorado, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Mexico, New York, Vermont, Virginia, Ohio, Michigan, or Maryland, Your state has already announced assistance programs. Check your state's website or call your SNAP office to find out how to access emergency help. Know your local resources, find your nearest food bank. Even if you've never gone to one before, there's no shame in it. They're there to help during emergencies exactly like this. Keep your information updated. Make sure your state SNAP office has your current phone number, address, and email. If there are delays or issues, they need to be able to reach you. Watch your account. Once benefits start being released, check your EBT card balance to make sure everything loaded correctly. Don't wait 3 days to find out there was a problem. Be patient, but persistent. If you need to call your SNAP office, remember the caseworkers are overwhelmed right now. Be kind, be patient, but also be persistent. If you have a real problem, report issues immediately. If your benefits don't load when they should, call your state SNAP hotline right away. The number should be on the back of your EBT card. Look, I know these past few weeks have been incredibly stressful. The uncertainty about whether your food assistance is going to be there, that's the kind of stress that keeps you up at night. But here's what I want you to take away from this. When it mattered most, the system is working. Advocates went to court. A federal judge listened and said, "This is an emergency, and I'm going to do something about it." States are stepping up with their own funds to help you in the meantime. Does this mean all your problems are solved? Number. Does it mean everything's going to be perfect from here on out? Unfortunately, no. But it does mean that there are people fighting for you and there are resources being put in place to help you. And I want you to hear this clearly. You deserve this. Help. You deserve to eat. You deserve to feed your family. You deserve dignity and respect. And you deserve not to live in constant fear about whether your basic needs are going to be met. I'm going to stay on top of this story and bring you updates as soon as anything changes. Anything happening in or out of Congress that's going to affect your retirement, your benefits, and your finances, you'll hear about it here. If you found this helpful, hit that like button so more people can find this information. Share it with anyone you know who receives SNAP benefits because there are still people out there who are confused and scared and don't know what's happening. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss updates. Check the description below. I've linked to the CNN article, information about your state SNAP agency, and other resources that might help you. You're not alone in this. We're going to get through it together. I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourself.